why not share more? Why not share the things that I would normally only tell to myself? That way, if there is even just one person out there that wants to hear it, they might be able at least, right? So here are some of my thoughts. Taxes wouldn't feel like hell if, one, they made it easy for people that work for themselves to do it. It's just incredibly difficult. If you have to pay somebody to do your taxes because it's so complicated, it just feels like an extra tax. Like it feels like a punishment. It just totally feels like a punishment for doing your own thing. It feels like a punishment for running your own business in America. It just seems systematically that they would rather us be wage slaves at some retail establishment, that is our proper place, that the average person should be giving up the majority of their power to retail and corporate interests. That is what is most safe for the power structures that be in this society. By making it so hard to be an artist, so hard to be self-employed, so hard to be your own business, they discourage that actual innovative individuality that America seems to value, appears to, pretends to value. So this part of the year is always rough for me and my friends. My friends trying to make it differently. Anybody trying to do things counter to the status quo. What was my other thought that I was getting on here for? I just got a new external hard drive. It's 2 terabytes. I just bought 2 terabytes of storage space for $60. That's crazy. That's crazy. The last time I paid for an external hard drive, I paid $100 for 500 gigabytes. So I paid almost double for a quarter of the space. That's crazy. Let's see. I had a thought because because music. So lately, my love for music has been coming back, my natural love for it. I had a natural love, and then I went and studied it, and then I had a very analytical love, which is fine and helpful, but it kind of hurt my ability to enjoy music for a long time. And lately, over the last few years, I would go stretches of weeks or even a month sometimes without even listening to a song. Even if someone suggested a song and said, hey, you should really check this out, I was just literally okay, cool, I will, and then wouldn't. Even as a music teacher, I just wasn't taking in music. Somebody would want to learn a song, and I'd go learn the chords, I'd go learn the melody, but it was, and I would teach it to them, but it was just information to me. I could not process it as a song. It was just data. It's just data in order over the span of however many minutes the song was. It's crazy. So my enjoyment for it is coming back. But with that is this counter frustration because all I want to do is create, but I want to create with uninterrupted time. I need personally to be my max creative self, days of uninterrupted time. If I have 3 days off, halfway through the second day, my mind is finally okay, it's time to create. We can make music now. But if I'm working later, if I worked in the morning already, I've spent that mental energy. It is so difficult for me to get creative, get in that mindset, and I don't even want to. That's the kind of environment that I need. That's the kind of temporal environment I need. Is days worth of cushion. So if I had, 5 days in a row, I'd probably be able to write for 3 of those days. That's how I feel. When I constantly have work coming up, I know I have work the next day, or I've already spent mental energy on work, it's so hard. And if I do write something, it's so hard to put it down, to get out the mics, to record. There's so many steps. And I think maybe I only have so many steps that I can do in a day. Perceived steps. For one person, cooking is just cooking. It's dinner time, so we're cooking. It's one activity. It's like cooking and then eating food. For me, cooking is choosing what to eat, finding the ingredients, finding a recipe, making sure all the utensils that I'm going to need are clean, remembering what temperature this needs to be at, heating up the stove, figuring out the timing for when to put food on the pan, what needs to go in the pan first, and then keeping track of it and setting timers and knowing when to stop heating it, and then when do I combine this thing, and oh no, this is a really lame meal if I don't have sides. What should I do for a side? It's choices and steps and steps and steps, and then serving it, and then eating it, and then but serving means like getting out all the plates and all the utensils, and then it's when you're done putting them in the sink, and then cleaning them, and then letting them dry, and then putting them back, and then taking them back out. That's a lot of steps. For me, cooking is not just cooking. For me, recording a song isn't just recording, and maybe at one point it was. Maybe it was that simple when I had more energy or more time. Probably just more energy. I don't even know. But everything is so many steps now. It's exhausting. It doesn't even matter if something is quick. It just takes too many steps, and I think that's why I need the temporal spaces to just let those steps breathe. They feel so cramped. They feel like such a rush. Almost everything that has to do with music feels such a rush if you're not just a musician. If you're trying to be a musician and you're working a second job or 2 other jobs, like a lot of musicians actually are, or more, then it's all the steps that go into like a show, for example, making sure your instruments are taken care of, transporting them safely, coordinating with an venue, plugging everything in, talking to a sound man, sound check, then getting used to the environment you're in, getting to know your audience, having a set list, adapting the set list, trying to sing your very best the whole time, staying hydrated but also trying to stay loose, keeping track of the time constantly. That's a lot of steps. And if you're having to do that at the end of the day where you've already worked either 2 jobs, or you've worked and then you've had to go take care of things at home and your relationship, and then you have to go do these things, like, if you don't have a team, like if you don't have a manager, if you don't have somebody like doing some of these steps for you, it's impossible. And you can really only have a team, you can really only have a manager if you can pay them, or if they really are willing to donate their time to you. And then anyways, you have the steps of coordination. it just feels impossible. The only way to be a musician at all, like in a capacity that I'd enjoy, is to be a full-time musician, I think. I really think that might be it. I might have to be a full-time creative in order to be a creative at all. And I was there once, and then it got taken away from me with the pandemic. I was finally there. I was teaching and I was playing shows. And gradually the shows were going up and the teaching was coming down. I was getting there. I was getting somewhere. Then the pandemic came, and it's been a whole year. It's been almost 12 months since I've been able to play actual shows. I played one time outside, one or two times outside last summer. That's it. And it was sad. I was sad. And paranoid. I thought even though I was outside, like singing spreads or like projects air particles much farther than speaking. So I didn't even feel good about those 2 little shows I did. Anyways, I had it taken from me. But like that's where I was, and I think at some point that's where I'm gonna have to come back to, is dedicating my everyday to being a creative. And that's scary, especially in a town that doesn't necessarily know how to support its true creatives. I live in a city that supports restaurant, jazz, and cover bands at bars. That's what most of my city supports. And you have your fringe communities that are into the underground stuff, the truly original stuff. But it's not enough people to make a living off of, which means I probably need to tour. I could do that, couldn't I? Could I tour and make money? That's what I want. That is what I want at the end of the day. A full-time traveling creative life. That is what I want. Maybe I can still make this happen.